Doctors, are you a trustee in charge of filing a trust and estate tax return, a Form 1041? Then listen up. That part of tax law is hard as hell. And you don't just hand it to Joe Schmo CPA, who also does it a couple of 1041s on the side. Here are 3 questions to ask when you're interviewing someone to hire. I'm Dr. Taxter. Let's get into it. Let me give you a bit of background. I saved trust and estate tax law for the last course of my master's in taxation. By then, I had spent 4 years studying tax law and felt pretty confident about how tax code worked. Nonetheless, trust and estate tax law, subchapter J, still kicked my ass. That was the hardest class I've ever taken in my life, med school classes included. Why? Because to understand trust taxation, you first have to understand things that aren't even tax law, including fiduciary accounting, which in California is determined by California probate code, a body of law entirely outside the tax code. And then you layer in subchapter J, the tax code, on top, which is brutally technical in its own right. So here are 3 questions to ask the tax pro. Number 1, fiduciary accounting. Ask, do you understand fiduciary accounting income and how the trust document and state law decide what's income versus principal? Because income in the trust world isn't the income the way you and I mean it. If they've never touched fiduciary accounting, then first step of the whole return can start from the wrong place. Number 2, distributable net income, DNI. So ask them, explain DNI to me. DNI is at the heart of the trust and estate tax law. It determines who pays the tax, whether the trust or beneficiary, and how much. You get the DNI wrong, and everything else downstream breaks, including the deduction, the K1, all of it. So if they can walk you through it clearly, that's your answer. Number 3, the distribution deduction. Ask, how does a distribution deduction work, and how do you tie back to DNI? Because it's not just we distributed cash, so we deduct it. It's completely intertwined with DNI. If they can't reconcile the distribution to K1, you're gonna have problems. And that's just the beginning. You got simple versus complex trust issue, income in respect of a decedent, and a pile of gotchas that never show up on basic 1040 return. Honestly, I met very few people truly sufficient at filing a Form 1041, trust and estate return. I prepared one 1041 for a midterm based on one simple trust. It took me 30 hours to do it. So before you hand your trust return to anyone, pimp them like you pimp medical students. Ask the fiduciary accounting question. Ask the DNI question. Ask the distribution deduction question. Because with trust, the cost of getting it wrong often doesn't land on the preparer. It lands on you and your beneficiary. I'm Dr. Taxter. Choose your tax pro like you would choose a surgeon. Specialty matters.